Should Dana White and the UFC co-promote with Francis Ngannou and the PFL to make the biggest fights in the sport of MMA happen? So before I get to that, let me just lay out the facts that Francis Ngannou is signed to the PFL, but put in the comment section right now who you want to see him fight from the PFL. There's nobody you could think of. I can't think of anybody. When we talk about what's next for Francis, the level of excitement and hype and money that could be generated from it is crazy when you talk about Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury too. Really any boxing match I would take over. Like even like down against like Derek Chisora and Zhang and these names, I would still rather watch Francis versus those guys than I would Francis versus a PFL fighter. The fights that are out there for Francis, and this is why you could kind of say still, because we're still early in the process, you know what I mean? Like everybody's celebrating as if this whole experience is over. We haven't. We don't know if Francis has truly fumbled the bag or not. Now we have to look at the matchups Francis has. Like, okay, he had a great performance, but now what's next? Does he go out there and, all right, prove it against Deontay Wilder now? And then he goes in there against Deontay Wilder and gets knocked the fuck out by Deontay Wilder. Bad, you know what I mean? And then, okay, run it against Tyson Fury again. Or run it against Tyson Fury again. Tyson Fury takes it more serious. He's not 11 months off. And Tyson Fury comes in with Fury, with his song, too. They didn't play his song. Fury is on fire. They didn't play that. It was a different experience. They do that for the rematch. Fury comes out, face plants Francis like he was supposed to in the first fight. You never know what's going to happen, bro. You never know what's going to happen. And Francis very well may win those fights. He didn't win the Fury fight. I thought he was robbed of it. But, the facts are facts, people. How many more matchups does Francis Ngannou have outside of the boxing world? Not much. I don't want to see him against PFL guys. That's not what I want to see. And clearly he's calling out UFC guys. He's the one tweeting. He's the one that's tweeting at John Jones. He's tweeting at Stipe Miocic and stuff like that. Which I think John had a fair point. Like, bro, you crossed the street before you could start yelling. You know what I mean? We were on the same side of the street before, and we could have fought, and now you cross the street to the PFL, and now you want to try to have the UFC co-promote and things like that. The UFC don't co-promote, bro. The UFC as a business practice doesn't co-promote, and they're smart to do so. They're smart to do so. I mean, you could argue that they've co-promoted with Floyd Mayweather to make the Conor McGregor fight happen and things like that. But if we're talking about the UFC with the MMA organization, nah. You know what I mean? Dan Hardy brought up earlier this week Chuck Liddell going over to fight Rampage and Pride. Dana bringing his boy over to Japan to wreck shop. Didn't happen. Rampage held him down, beat him to the body. It was bad. He beat up Chuck Liddell. You know what I mean? Chuck Liddell really went to Japan and got beat up by Japan's top guy. You know what I mean? Not even top guy, because Vanderlei was, Vanderlei Silva's out there. All these other people out there. Rampage Jackson did that to the UFC's top guy. Dana was tight. Dana's like, all right, we're not going to do that again. That was stupid. That was really stupid to go in their house and do all this stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe things would be more on the UFC's terms if they agreed to it going forward with another promotion, maybe. But I don't know, man. I just don't think it's smart to go in there when you're number one. UFC wasn't number one at that time, but nowadays UFC is number one, clear cut, number one. Fact internationally, not just in America. You know what I'm saying? All over the world, UFC is number one, and rightfully so. Francis Ngannou not fighting there doesn't do anything for the UFC. The UFC is like, yeah, let him, like, he's facing easier competition. We're the UFC. We have better comp than those guys. You know what I mean? It doesn't do anything for the UFC to let Francis fight in their organization again. Doesn't do anything for him, and he's calling them out. You know what I mean? This is a non-conversation if Francis isn't out there, tweeting at John Jones, tweeting at Stipe, but he is. He's saying that he wants to fight these people. He's calling them out. He's saying the UFC should co-promote. UFC doesn't co-promote, and they're smart not to do so. Now, from a fan's perspective, would I like to see them do that? Yeah, but, the UFC got enough fights to make the fans happy. And, yeah, you can't sacrifice your business because this guy wants to wreck shop and all these things. So I see it from both ways. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. Just join the discussion and let me know if you think Francis should fight for PFL next, box, whatever. What do you think Francis Ngannou should do next? And also follow for more. Thank you. You are appreciated.